Eric from Esoteric Journey kind of inspired me. Make a staff, wizard staff. So I made my first prototype. And it's a copper grounding rod through a copper pipe where I had magnets all facing against each other, like they were repelling. There's like 4 or 5 different rows of them that have like 4 different magnets. And then I melted some bismuth. Kind of see how it's bismuth. It's got like a rainbow color. And while I was melting the bismuth, I pushed down on the top of the grounding rod as the pipe was in the ground. And so all the repulsive magnets, because they're trapped in the pipe, are like actually touching, even though they should be repulsing. So I pushed down on it, and then I poured the melting bismuth in there as it cooled. It cooled around those magnets. And if you've seen Ken Wheeler's video, he did a video on what was it? Oh yeah, he did a video on programmed bismuth. He melted bismuth and then put it on in like the bottom of a soda can with a 2" by 2" by 1" neodymium, 50 Gauss neodymium magnet. And because it's in the middle of that field, like the middle of a square magnet has like a null point. So it's like a black hole kind of when you look at it. And so the bismuth was in that, and bismuth is the most diamagnetic metal in existence. So it's the complete opposite of a magnet. So when it cools around that magnet in that like null field, it like I guess the field of the bismuth would be like pushing outwards when it's really like an inward. It's like an inward magnet, kind of like, you ever see bismuth crystals? They look like all like inverted geometry. It's like really weird looking. But in the video, Ken puts copper, I'm pretty sure it's copper, around the bismuth magnet, the cooled bismuth like disc, and then he moves his hand around and he says something like, "This doesn't move through gravity normally. It feels different." And I've had people come and check on it, and it's like a form of anti-gravity almost. It like cancels out gravity. So I figured I'd try that with my staff. If bismuth has some weird diamagnetic properties, then it I think it would be cool to have that in the staff. But yep, there it is. You ever notice in Lord of the Rings, Gandalf's staff and the other wizard staff, Saruman? If you look at it, Gandalf the Grey's staff is basically it's like a piece of wood with like a gnarled top that holds a crystal. And then his second staff, the one he makes when he becomes Gandalf the White, is like pitch white, and it has like a weird like geometry at the top, and it made me think of porcelain. Like he made that staff out of porcelain. It must have been like, it was a lot harder to make because it's porcelain, and he has those little tiny like intricate geometry at the top, making the staff harder to make, but it would probably make it more powerful. And the other guy, Saruman, his staff is very metallic, and it has a crystal ball, perfectly shaped crystal ball, and it's really symmetrical. And the Ents even say about it that Saruman stopped caring about the forest and he started caring more about metallurgy. So that's why his staff is like pitch black metal, iron, and it has like these claws that claw a crystal ball at the top. And that would be, I don't know if that would be harder to make than a porcelain staff. Probably not. The porcelain staff would probably be really difficult to make. And I'm sure you can like do all kinds of spells when you make it. Like this, my little scrawny staff is definitely not the best way to do it, but I think it's a cool idea with the bismuth and the magnets. Almost like it's like a anti-gravity almost staff. And it's like an electrical staff because it's built out of a grounding rod, a copper grounding rod, and it has magnets in it. So it's like a anti-gravity electric staff kind of. But the way it wasn't that hard to make. Like I didn't do anything fancy with that part of it. And like after I made it, there were still stickers on the staff, and I was like, all right, this is not helping me feel like a wizard. So I like scraped off the stickers. But so I guess the real way to make it, like, the next prototype could be to set it up so the bismuth is not all on one side, basically. Like the way I did it was really crude. I could probably make it so it actually goes around in like a pipe, not like how it ended up with mine. And then I could quench it. Next time, I might try like to quench it in something crazy, like raw honey. I was recently quenching these what were they? What the hell are they called? Pieces of steel, because I wanted to see what's the best liquid to quench stuff in. And the honey, when I did it in the raw honey was like solid. So I put the little piece of steel on the raw honey, and it like melted through it and eventually cooled. And it had the coolest, it was like pitch black color. While the other methods, like with water, it kind of turned out with like a little bit of red, probably from rust, after it quenched. And then I did it in turpentine as well, and it turned like a little white, like I guess like the salt rubbed off on the top of it, so it had like a little white tint to it. But I wanted to test like their actual like the strength of the metal, and I wanted to use microscope I have, but you can't look at steel through a microscope because you can't like shine a light underneath it that goes through it. So I gotta figure out another way to test the strength, maybe with like a sledgehammer and a vise or something. And then the other two methods I tried was with my ultrasonic frequency generator. It's a like what they use for like getting rust off of parts. I think like mechanics use it and shit. And I figured it'd be cool to see what it would do to metal. It got quenched in ultrasonic fluid, while the fluid was like being vibrated at an ultrasonic frequency. And both those pieces look different. I did it with turpentine. I did it with water in the ultrasonic frequency generator, and they both look different than the other ones, than the normal ones. So I bet the way it quenched was different. I don't know. I gotta do some kind of test to test the strength of the metal now, see what actually worked. But the honey one looks the coolest. It's like pitch black. It looks badass. I don't know. But yeah, that's my take on wizards and their staves.